Hello, 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 and welcome everybody to the Black Boss channel. I am Jeff Lightsey, and today we got our special guest, Mr. Dee-1 Music, and he is here to talk about some music because he's got a new song out and some more new music coming out this week. D, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing great. This has been a very busy day for me, and I'm not complaining when I say that, man. It's just I was driving a little while ago. I was like, man, this day has been nonstop. So I'm honored to be on this. This actually feels like more of my comfort zone to just be, in this type of environment, man. So I'm looking forward to the interview.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we won't keep D long. Like you said, he's a busy man. He's got a lot of things going on. But I had to get D on to talk about his latest single. Now he's got a single coming out this Friday, but his latest single is titled Kevin Samuels. Now we all know Mr. Kevin Samuels, the internet sensation, what he calls himself not a guru. He calls himself a consultant. The internet,
Okay.
he's an image consultant is his official title, but we know his YouTube channel has a lot of women on there and they talk about a lot of different things as far as relationships and building families. So D, what I want to ask you was what was the inspiration about naming one of your songs after someone who may be considered controversial in Kevin Samuels?
Yeah. Oftentimes when you start to express what you want in relationships, it's controversial because people tend to feel attacked when you just are stating your preference. So for me, it was a particular video by Kevin Samuels that I felt like it accurately described where I currently stand when it comes to what type of relationship fits me best. And it was him talking about a man who is successful and what that man values in a woman that he's looking to be with. And he was saying that a man who is successful, he's not looking for a woman to have to pay his bills, or he's not impressed with her, flaunting how much money she makes or how many college degrees she has. That stuff is great, and no one is knocking her for that. But um, but he just spoke to the fact that some women nowadays tend to feel like their salaries or or their status professionally is like a gives them a notch up on other women. And it's like, nah, when you value loyalty, when you value true friendship, when you value being equally yoked spiritually, those other things they don't really stand out at the top of the list. So I heard him do a video talking about that, and I was like, wow. Of course, Kevin Samuels and Dee-1 have very different delivery styles to our messages. So I was like, yo, we actually have similar messages when it comes to this one topic. And I'm just gonna put it in a Dee-1 delivery style, and make a song out of it. So that's where the song called Kevin Samuels came from. But the whole song is actually about Dee-1 and about where I stand when it comes to relationships.
And that's the thing. So, like you said, y'all styles are totally different, right? When you see a title of a song called Kevin Samuels, if you don't know anything about your music, if you're just scrolling through, see it on YouTube or whatever, and you hear the song, and it's like, that don't sound like nothing Kevin. They don't sound like Kevin Samuel. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like Dee-1. Obviously, it's your music, but like you said, the delivery. I think the message and a lot of messages that Kevin Samuels has are right on point, right? But a lot of people disagree with the way he delivers those messages to those single mothers, to those black women, to whoever. But sometimes it's just like a harsh reality. D, I want to ask you this. You don't have to dive into like your own dating, whatever's going on there. But when making this song, did you have any difficulties? Did you feel like you were kind of like exposing yourself to some of the things that maybe you've dealt with in relationships in the past, or was it just all like kind of like a freestyle going on?
Man, that's a great question, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did. I felt I felt liberated when I made this song because I was like, wow, I'm really talking about the reality of where I currently stand when it comes to relationships and my mindset towards what a fruitful partnership would look like. And I was like, I haven't really done this in song form in a long time, and it felt great. So so the song Kevin Samuels, it felt very, very liberating. I did that song on a Thursday, and I did it initially without a beat. I was on a plane and I just had an idea. After I saw that video of his, I came up with all the lyrics, freestyling them on a plane without a beat. So after I had all the lyrics freestyled, I ended up searching for a beat. So I put a call out there on the internet telling people, hey, I'm looking for a beat for a song. I'm about to put this song out ASAP. And I had people submit beats. One of my boys submitted an amazing beat. Shout out to my man Kato, Kato Tracks, and I recorded the song to to this beat. But it felt great, man. So much so that my new single that's coming out, it's called Hard to Get. It's actually it's talking about relationships as well, and it's talking about who plays hard to get more out of men and women, and it's talking about a real life scenario that I've been through. So I'm kind of I'm gonna tell you this, Jeff. I'm enjoying being able to speak freely but creatively about my thoughts on love and on relationships, because I think that I think I have uh a lot of creative ways to relate to people when it comes to those topics, man. So I'm excited that I'm doing it, you know.
D, that's such a dope perspective. Once again, we're talking to Dee-1 Music. He's got his single Kevin Samuel that's out now. He's got a new single releasing this Friday. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the chat. D, it's interesting to hear you say that because you are in the hip hop lane, right? And so when we talk about love or relationships in hip hop, that don't really, I mean, I'm a connoisseur of hip hop, man. That doesn't always go together, at least from what I mean, if you disagree, let me know. Like, that doesn't always, to me, go together. We've seen 90s R&B, but we've kind of seen R&B die a little bit. Am I wrong when I say that?
I think that here's my take on it, brother. I feel like as of late, you are hearing a lot more artists. Think about a person like Drake, the biggest artist in hip hop, and Drake dedicates a lot of his music to kind of being able to speak to the emotions that people feel when they're in and out of and in between, love. And I think that that is a testament right there to the fact that these topics are being spoken on by hip hop artists more and more. But I haven't quite heard anyone with my perspective all the way as a hip hop artist. So I think that I'm just in a unique space to be able to be the spokesperson for a lot of people who agree with my sentiments, both men and women. So that's the exciting part, bro. So many people love this song Kevin Samuels that I put out. So many people love it, including women, and a lot of women are like, I got screenshots I could show you. A lot of women are like, I was about to not listen to it just because of the title, because I don't like Kevin Samuels. But now that I listened, I'm so glad I listened, because this song is actually really dope, and I respect you for putting your truth out there. So I'm just like, thank you. Thank you for not letting the messenger overshadow the message. Because when I put the title Kevin Samuels out there, some people in the world we live in, they will let their disdain or their dislike for Kevin Samuels make them say, I'm not even gonna listen to this Dee-1 song just because it's entitled Kevin Samuels. And that's tough, man. You could be missing out on a blessing, for real. And this song is definitely a blessing to your speakers and to your playlist.
Definitely, the song is amazing, and that's another thing. I'll ask you that, but like you said, there's not a lot of like, I will say there's not a lot of people making songs, at least in hip hop, like this, right? Like, that's putting out there, naming it after someone who's controversial. A lot of people stand either on either side of the fence of Kevin Samuel, however you feel about him. But D, I want to go back into what you were saying about the whole relationship thing. Like, is that kind of therapeutic? Putting these things on me, we hear artists that talk about things being therapeutic for them when they make music, but this is a different lane for you, or even for just hip hop in general, talking about relationships, talking about love, talking about catering to women and doing these kind of things. Like, how does that make you feel when you're making this type of music?
Therapeutic, that's a powerful word. It did feel therapeutic, man, to make this song, Kevin Samuels. And when I'm talking about relationships and love, it does feel therapeutic because that's a big part of my life. It just is. And when you're going through things in real life, but you can't talk about it in your music, it kind of it's kind of like a disconnect there, because it's like, man, I might be going through this. This might have taken up a big part of my week. This past week is going through some of these scenarios, but when I make music to express myself, I got to leave this big part of my life out, and I'm just not going to leave that part of my life out anymore. So uh I will always proceed with respect, for other people who may be involved in situations, or even if these are situations I'm speaking on from my past, I would never refer to anyone by name or in such specific terms that anyone ever feels like publicly singled out. You know what I mean? So some of them bars in the Kevin Samuels song, they real, but like not some of them. Some of them are real specific. Like um I'm the new school Chuck D. Shout out PE, my teachers. I don't think you want that. Go find you a PE teacher. That's a real bar. That's a non-fiction bar right there. But guess what? Only one person in this world knows who that bar is directed towards, and that's me and that person. So it's like, you know, um, that's 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 where I'm at with it, man. I mean, this is real. It's not about calling people out. It's not about being disrespectful towards people. It's about finding that sweet spot of owning my truth without and being creative with it, and still being respectful, because I believe in being respectful. I'm always respectful. You know what I mean? That's what's gotten me this far in life.
Now, D, like that bar, that was the one that stood out to me too. That was the one I brought up to you. Once again, we're talking to Dee-1 Music about his new single, Kevin Samuel. He's got another single about black love, about love, relationships, and things like that coming out this Friday. What's the title of that single that's coming out on Friday again, D?
It's called Hard to Get.
Hard to
Hard
Get.
hard to get. Yeah, because y'all know, if you're a woman watching this, y'all know that y'all be playing hard to get a lot of times, and in our community, that is something that gets passed down oftentimes, is women schooling younger women as to like how they should be when it comes to men. But I feel like nowadays what's going on is we don't have grandmothers who have successful marriages that are being, glorified the way they should be. We don't have the women, whether they're your mother, or we don't have people with healthy, successful marriages that are being glorified and looked to for advice. We don't have men with healthy marriages that are being glorified and looked to. We're looking at people who, regardless of what their relationship status is, they have charisma. So they have a way of delivering this message to people that this is how you should act and this is how you should be. And I'm a guru when it comes to this. But it's like, what's your track record? You know what I mean? So that's the tough part. So this whole hard to get notion that I wrote about, I'm just like, who even like made that up? Who made that a real thing to play hard to get? Because women will argue that a lot of men play hard to get more than women do at this point in life. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy. Like that is not cute for a man to be out here playing hard to get. It's not cute at all. So hopefully, amidst doing this, I can just restore some pride and some integrity into our community in terms of how we are even approaching situations, and how we are approaching love, and how we are able to express how we feel and what we want and what fits us best. It is so important to know yourself, because in knowing yourself, you then know what you want and what fits you best in a relationship. What fit Jeff best, what fit Dr. Boyce Watkins best, may not be what fits Dee-1 best in a relationship. It's up to each of us to own our realities of who we are and what it is we bring to the table. So yeah,
D, man, you sound like you about to take Kevin Samuel's job. You sound
man.
like you help for his job, man. Like the way you was breaking that down, and you putting this stuff in the music, man. Like you really know what you're talking about when you come to these things, right? Like, where does that come from?
It comes from bro, that pandemic year, I just say the year 2020, that pandemic year really allowed allowed me to sit back and reflect on a lot of who I am. I also lost my grandmother last year during that year, and even that, um, I felt a part of me just like leave this earth when she left this earth, and I had to get back in touch with, you know, why is it that I legit feel like a part of me is gone? And I just remember now it's the way my grandmother loved me that really helped to contribute to the man that I am. And I was like, wow, without my grandmother here loving me like that, I have to figure out how to love myself like that, or I'm gonna feel like a part of me is dead. You understand me?
Mhm.
And it also helped me to realize what what style of love would suit me best, even in a partner. You know what I mean? Not to say
Mhm.
someone has to be an exact replica of my grandmother, but it's just the intangibles of how my grandmother loved me. Her communication style really worked best, you know, for a brother like me. And that's stuff I had time to sit back and reflect on. So now moving forward, I feel empowered because I know myself so much better because of this pandemic. I didn't waste that pandemic year and just twiddle my thumbs. I learned myself a lot more. I took self inventory, and I'm ready to share that with the world, and I'm ready to share that with the woman, you know, for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Dee-1 Music about his music. We're talking about his song "Hard to Get" that'll release this Friday. He's got a song out right now titled "Kevin Samuel" that talks about love, relationships, and things that are going on, and even has some personal notes in there, as Dee has already stated. Dee, I want to talk to you about this. What role do you feel, and you can answer this however you feel, but what role do you think social media now plays in like either the concept of relationships? Do you think it's beneficial, or do you think social media is something that's actually hurting a lot of the relationships, particularly in the Black community?
Excellent question. Social media is hurting way more relationships than it's helping,
Mm,
because when you have a healthy, happy relationship, you don't need social media to make you happier. But unfortunately, we have people who part of their happiness in their relationship is coming from, well, me and my girl, we look cute together. So when I post a picture of us, those likes and those comments that I get, that's gonna help me feel better about this person that I know I have no chemistry with, no synergy with, but we do look cute together aesthetically. So I'm depending on social media to even help hold this relationship up, because that dopamine that comes from that validation from other people is something I'm dependent upon. That sucks. That's horrible,
mm.
man. That's trash. I hate that. That's what's holding some people together. Is, man, people sure think we look cute, you know, but just because y'all cute in pictures doesn't mean that that's your soulmate. And
Mhm.
social media is hurting a lot of relationships because uh, it opens up so many options to people, to where they often feel like, you know what, why do I have to put up with the flaws or the imperfections of my partner when I could just go scroll in my DMs right now, and I got plenty of other people who would love to be with me right now, and that gets people's wheels to spinning. And
Mhm.
you got people also on social media who, this is another reason why social media hurts relationships, because 99 out of 100 people are secretly jealous when they see a happy couple on social media.
Mhm.
So at least 70 of those 100 people are going to try to do things like slide in DMs, or like, you know, throw salt into that relationship if they can, to go ahead on and try to come between them. The other 29 people out of those 100, they're going to just sit back and they're just going to silently just wait. And some of them even going to pray. They're going to pray,
Mm.
man, God, like, I can't wait till they break up. I'm waiting for her to delete all the pictures of him on social media, or I'm waiting for that day where I can tell they're not rocking with each other. And then one person out of those 100 is going to genuinely be like, that's what's up right there. I'm happy for that couple. Like, they are doing great, and I'm so happy, and I want them to make it, because that love is going to inspire so many other couples, you know, coming up to see them win and succeed. You got one person out of 100 who feels that way. But the other 99, man, it's a bunch of haters out here. You heard me?
I definitely believe you on that, man. I've seen it happen, so that's why I know you're not lying when you say these things, man.
You
For
sound like
sure.
you sound like you sound like social media that broke one of your relationships up,
Nah, it
bro.
ain't happened to me, man. We don't let social media get to me over here. That ain't happening, not at all. Me and my lady, we don't. Now we don't get down like that, man. Once again, we're talking to D1 Music, man. D's got a lot of things to do, but before we get you out of here, D, I do want to ask you this, man. So you talked about the social media, you talked about all those things. I know one of the things that a lot of people they term it relationship goals, right? But we're not going to use that. I'm going to ask you, is there a couple or is there someone's relationship that you look at and you say, hey, man, like that is a healthy, organic relationship, not something you have to say is your goals, but something that you might even be inspired by when you see that.
Yeah, I hope hold on. I hope these pictures come up. Let's see. So when I think relationship goals, I don't know if you can see that man and that woman that's sitting on the side of me. You hear me? Um, that's
Yeah, we
my
can see it.
that's my grandpa, and that's my grandmother. Rest in peace to my baby. So they were married for 66 years.
Woo.
Yeah, and not just married, like barely made it through, but like genuinely happy. That's them both in their 80s. And my grandpa is telling a little joke right here, and my grandma got that look on her face like she about to bust out laughing, like, oh, he's so crazy, and just they man, they love each other so much. That's relationship goals for me. And then I can't sleep on my mama and daddy too. My mama and daddy, they've been in the game for I think 30 something years at this point, married. And for me to just see that as a young black man, coming up in the hood in New Orleans, I know how rare that is that my parents and my grandparents, at least on my daddy's side, that they were together and till death do them part. And man, bro, like that's my relationship goals. So it ain't no celebrities, at all. It's the Augustine family.
That's awesome, man. Like that, like you said, to have two sets, your grandparents and your parents to be together almost 100 years combined, right? Like when you put it together, like that's that. I mean, I hate to say it, but even in our community, not just in New Orleans, but I mean, I'm from Kentucky. I haven't heard too many stories like that, right? Like, unfortunately, that's where a lot of this has come to. But that's amazing to see that the Augustine family is able to hold it together. When they say "Death do us part," they mean it. You guys mean it over there for sure.
So that's the part for me to where I put a lot of weight. All right, now we about to this is a deep conversation, and we getting deep now, bro. Because so for me, my grandparents met. My grandpa was 23. My grandma was 18. They got married. He was fresh out the army. He was cool with her uncle. So he introduced the two of them. They got married 3 months after they met. My grandpa, blue collar worker his whole life. He did plastering work and he worked in the post office. My mama and daddy, they met. My mama was like 18 when they met as well. My daddy was like 22, and they got married. I think about 3 years later. My mama was like 21 when they got married. My daddy, blue collar worker his whole life, a welder. Um. So for me, I I took a different path. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm I'm uh I'm an entertainer. You know what I mean? I travel so much. I'm around in the era of social media. Um, it would have been probably way easier for me to be with the person that I was with back in college and just be like, oh, that's a wrap. We met when we were real young, super easy before, ain't no such thing as D1 back then. I was Mr. Augustine, the teacher, or just David, the college student. But um, me deciding to pursue my dream of being a hip hop artist came along with some sacrifices, and it came along with a different lifestyle that I wasn't prepared for, nor would a lot of people who's with a person like me be prepared for. Especially when things started to succeed, and it's like he's not a struggling artist anymore. he's an artist that's legit making real moves and has a national brand and audience at this point. So but it's always been like a blue collar type of grind for me. It's still never been easy to make it as an artist. Even to this day, it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like it's legit. You know, I was telling you, like I've been grinding hard all day, and none of it had to do with writing rhymes and just doing the fun part. I'm talking about like the groundwork that goes into all this. So my path towards even finding someone has been much different than anything I've seen in my family and like how their lifestyles were.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that has made it to where I still want my end result to be the same, which is a healthy marriage until death do us part. But the process of getting there has looked very different than the process my parents and grandparents went through. So so it's just been a unique grind on my end when it comes to that. But just as much as I care about advancing, and I had to get to that point to where I care about having a healthy, happy, fruitful relationship as much as I care about my new single being dope or my new album being fire or my new tour or my new watches that I'm pushing. Arburnetbrand.com, by the way, everybody go get you a wooden watch from D1 and his partners. But I had to get to the point to where I cared about a relationship as much as I cared about professional success. And I think that last year is probably one of the first times that it's like I cared before, but now I really, really care because once my grandma passed, like I felt a void, you know, for the first time in my life. And that void hasn't been filled yet. And it's been and a year and 4 months and 9 days, you know, since she passed. And it's like I feel like that void is something that I'm looking forward to, you know, being able to be with someone. And I think that void would be filled by just being able to pour my all into someone and know that they're pouring their all into me. Because although I was my grandma's grandson, that's definitely somebody who I felt I could feel that she just poured her all into me at all times. And that felt good. So, you know, I reciprocated that same energy with her. So yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, he's ready. He's ready. That's awesome to hear, man. Well, D, I'll get you out, man. I appreciate everything. Once again, this is D1 Music. He's got his single Kevin Samuels out. That's right now. He's got the new single dropping Friday. D, tell us a little. You've already spilled a lot of beans about the new single, but a little more info before we get you out about the new single and potentially, I don't know, a project or something that may be coming out soon.
My new single is called Hard to Get. And sometimes you could be friends with somebody, but you know that you're really crushing on them. And sometimes they're crushing on you too. But you know what? Out of respect for the friendship, y'all both kind of playing hard to get. So I just made a song about it because I've been through that before. And I want you to hear it because it's going to be your new anthem if you ever been through this.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate it, D. Once again, this is D1 Music here with Jeff Lights Jr. on the Black Boss channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe on your way out, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.